What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another F1 24 My Team Career Mode episode. Today, round 11. We're in Austria. I love Austria as a racetrack. Incredible. We do have a bit of a marketing department request here. So we're having a bit of a social media crisis and really wasn't presented well, a little bit out of context, but obviously it comes off poorly. Now we can either apologise or kind of ignore it. Ignoring it costs us about 20k in cash. Apologising makes us lose a claim. So we're going to wait for it to blow over, I think.
You handled that well. Thank you.
And yeah, just hopefully it blows over. But we've
I know
also
we were expecting some new developments to come through.
lost
Some of them have failed quality control.
our development
We'll need
of
to tell
the
team
roll
to
dampers,
redevelop
which
via
is
the
a
RE screen.
tire wear upgrade. So we're going to have to redevelop that. It's rather frustrating. Doesn't really affect performance too much, but it would have been nice to have another upgrade on for this race as well. But we're just going to do that and it'll come on for the next race after Austria. So here we go for the race weekend.
High up in the mountains here at Spielberg, it's time for qualifying on what will be the fastest laps of the season. Stand by for qualifying at the Austrian Grand Prix.
Indeed it is, and if you guys have caught a few of my videos and you're not yet subscribed, please do so. It only helps you stay up to date. But it is a sprint weekend, so we have SQ1 straight away. There was no real point to put practice in this video. Just wasn't that much going on anyway. And also it would have made the video probably another 20 minutes longer, 10-20 minutes longer. Something that I didn't really want to do. I want to keep these videos nice and to the point. But here we go. Decent run in turn 1. You don't really want to hit the yellow sausage curb on the inside of turn 1. And you also don't want to hit it here. It's not too bad here. Really try and straighten the car up. The car did rotate quite nicely through there. And yeah, just a long DRS fest for the first sort of 3 official straights of this track. And now putting the power down nicely. I have been practicing, to say the least. Some of you will probably be very happy to hear that. I'm also happy to hear that. A little bit of oversteer there in the high speed. But yeah, it's going well. I've basically picked up and understood a little bit more the trail braking. I'm not a chef. I am a Formula 1 team owner in this series. And across the line, fastest lap, fair to say, my improvements in driving and potentially just Austria as a track, as I love it so much, kind of really outweighed the amount I upped the AI for this. So we're gonna just skip Q1, and as you know, when I do this, when this happens, when the AI is not fast enough, or I'm too fast for the AI, especially at this moment in time when Jarno is all the way down in P22, I just skip Q2 to start in P16.
Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint. It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar today then, with 7 rights and just 3 lefts, making up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is barely a corner at all. They'll be flat out through there, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking zone of turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And it's Charles Leclerc in P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Perez, Norris, Sainz, Russell, Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso, Hamilton, Albon, Stroll, Gasly, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Hülkenberg, Brown, Ocon, Bottas, Joe, Magnussen, Sargent, and the owner-driver rounds off the grid. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
No, we won't. We'll find out who wins the sprint race today, Crofty. You might have had a bit too much to drink after sprint qualifying. But, yeah. We'll go from there. Pretty easy, just a medium tyre run all the way. No pit stops in the sprint race. And P16 on the grid, as you can see. Just behind Hulkenberg Sonoda. Ahead of Ocon. I'm not sure where the other Alpine is off the top of my head, but Gasly is our rival. So we should be aiming to beat Gasly at the very least. But again, we know we have pace here. We are just going to warm up the tyres heavily. I don't think the AI are affected by any tyre temperature in this game. I'm not entirely sure. I know they weren't in F1 23, so I'm only going to assume that they aren't in F1 24 as well. I don't think the game simulates their tyre temperatures and stuff like that. But obviously, if we went soft, we probably would have been overheating at some point. We would have had the pace early on, but then dropped off a cliff towards the end. So, fingers crossed, the medium tyre all the way to the end is probably the best race tyre around the circuit. Gives you the good grip through the high speed, while also giving you kind of the durability over the soft compound tyre. It's only a short lap, but obviously that means there's more laps. And yeah, let's just hope we can get a good getaway, get after the guys up ahead, and more importantly, get after Pierre Gasly in the Alpine. Got to clear the Haas and Sonoda first though. So let's hope we can get a good start, get past Hulkenberg, and then we'll take care of Sonoda on the run up the hill. There goes Bottas, doing his best impression of a ghost. And now we're going to try and get a good grid placement. 0.2. Pretty decent, but here we go. The 5 red lights are all on. Now they're out for the Austrian sprint race here in the Styrian Mountains. Great getaway for us. Sonoda's already going and attacking Gasly's. We send it up the inside of Gasly. We do cut the corner just to not lose our front wing, which does set us a little bit back on the run up the hill here. There's a dump a lot of the battery, and now we're going to go for a cheeky dive. We do, dodging around the Visa Cash App RB of Daniel Ricciardo and slotting in just behind Stroll. That was a very scary moment. We could have lost our front left tyre straight off the bat, but we somehow managed to avoid a costly accident there. And now Ricciardo and Gasly are side by side. Stroll ahead is on soft, so we're not really going to be looking at getting past him in this lap for sure. He's also in the Aston Martin, which is a vastly superior car at the moment. Maybe not on this track, but we can only wait and see. So go a little bit wide there, missed my apex massively on that penultimate right-hander, and Gasly and Ricciardo are outside of DRS as we speak now. Can I keep them out? I've got to stay as close as I dare to Stroll, and I believe we've done it. So if we can stick as close as we can to the back of Stroll, as you can see from the rearward camera on Stroll's Aston Martin here, we're sticking very close under the slipstream as we're going to go down the inside, just roll the car through nicely, try and get it stopped, try and get the traction, but no, those softs are far superior. And now Ricciardo and Gasly are pretty much hanging onto the DRS here, just behind us. So we're going to try again to stay as close as we dare. That was very, very close to the rear diffuser of the car in front. Again, Ricciardo and Gasly, they must be having a little bit of a ding-dong back there in P13 and 14, but we're fighting here for potentially P9, is that? Just up the road, just ahead of Alonso. But there's a little bit of a gap in the train formed, well, just after the Mercedes, the 2 Mercedes and the McLaren up ahead. And then it comes the pack of, I believe, who is that? Is that Williams? Up here? Are they getting a nosebleed? As we get a great run out of turn 1 on Lance Stroll. We're going to use a bit of the battery. We do have the DRS here. Just going to make sure we do get the DRS on the cars in front, which is very important. We brake really late, lock up the right front, and get the traction out. And it's Alex Albon all the way up here getting a nosebleed in P10 currently. As now we're going to fight off Stroll a little bit, try and really get back onto this battle just ahead of us for Alonso and Albon for P9. We can potentially fight for that spot now as well, as we really get a nice bit of momentum through the high speed. I think we have a little bit higher downforce than some of the other cars around us, which really helps us in this sort of second sector. And then the DRS kind of just carries us through all the sort of straights, if that makes sense, the sort of bits where you don't need the downforce. You can really just piggyback off that DRS. As now Albon's going very defensive into turn 1. Do we dare send it around the outside? We do. Very late, I must say, but Albon left the space, thankfully, otherwise we would have definitely been off the circuit there and vulnerable to Stroll, who is coming up the inside anyway. So we're now going to go round the outside again of Alex Albon. He's blocking in Stroll nicely for us. So we get the DRS again from Alex Albon, and you can see as we make the run down towards turn 4 here. So we're going to switch to the inside, brake a little bit later, maybe banging wheels a little bit. It's hard to tell from this camera angle, but we do get the traction and get out of the corner in P10. Now it's crucial for us to try. This is a beautiful camera shot. I love this specific kind of camera shot. The helicopter cam in this game looks amazing. But we have sadly dropped out of DRS of those up front, which we kind of need it to defend fully from the likes of Albon, from the likes of Stroll, and the whole train behind us. Look at that. I'm not sure what position that goes down to, but Albon is sending it down the inside. We're going to hold it around the outside, get the traction on the exit, maybe deploy a bit of the battery just to defend here. No, we're just going to let him go. Potentially we're thinking about a DRS share with Albon to get back onto the battle up ahead. I think with it being a Williams, we can pretty much stay with the Williams, so there's no issue there at all. Because now we're going to send it down the inside, shades of a previous lap, but Albon gets a switchback as we locked up mid-corner, and now he does have the run through this sort of high-speed middle sector of the Austrian circuit here, the Red Bull ring. But there's no Red Bull in this fight. It is purely Mercedes engine in front, in the back of that Williams, Mercedes engine in the back of our Andretti Cadillac car, Mercedes engine in the back of Lance Stroll's Aston Martin behind us, and skipping along to lap 7 here. There's only one more lap after this. We've got to do something here to try and get past Alex Albon. We do get the DRS still. We made sure to be behind at the DRS detection point, as now we're going to use the battery and the DRS together for a nice easy overtake and potentially think about breaking free, just like those fans of High School Musical, which is no idea where that came from. But anyway, we're going to try and break free during this Sector 2. Try and break the DRS of Alex Albon. I'm really distracted now. But can we do it? I don't think we can. We've only got 10% battery here. We almost over-rotate the car. I think we snap the steering wheel too much. We snatch at the corner in that penultimate right-hander, and that really kind of harms our traction and our stability through that corner. It is the final lap. We have Alex Albon in DRS, followed closely by Lance Stroll. Can we do anything to keep them behind? We don't have much battery at all. It's all about this exit here. This is the main exit that we care about. We do get the power down nicely. Albon is about 4/10 behind us, but that DRS and that Williams is so fast in a straight line. We're going to dump the battery, brake as late as we dare, mount the curb as much as we can, straighten the steering wheel, get the traction, get out of the corner and into this high-speed section. Very hard to overtake here. There's almost no heavy braking zones at all. for the rest of the circuit. And I think we've done enough to claim P10 as Max Verstappen in the Red Bull crosses the line to take victory here in the sprint race. Is now out of the last corner. We do go a little bit wide, but it does not matter. Cross the line in P10 in the sprint race.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
There's no points for 10th position, sadly, but we do have bragging rights over Williams and Alex Albon.
So with the sprint concluded, join us next time for qualifying and of course the main event, this weekend's Formula One Grand Prix. We'll see you next time.
Indeed you will, Crofty. You absolutely will. So there we go. Max Verstappen taking the top spot, Sergio Perez, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, Sainz, Russell, Hamilton, Piastri, Alonso, ourselves in P10, Albon, Stroll, Ricciardo, Gasly, Ocon, Tsunoda, Bottas, Hulkenberg, Zhou Guanyu, Kevin Magnussen, Logan Sargent, and Jarno Altmaier. Again. Here we go. Got a lot to think about for our teammate, but right now, developments and upgrades are the key for us in this car. So we've been doing a lot on aero and chassis, which is all well and good. We do have a really nice engine in the back of this car. We do have a lot of pace in the engine. And I think we're just going to upgrade the ERS, try and get a bit more pace out of that. And it should be on in time for Belgium. It's a nice upgrade to add on there.
High up in the mountains here at Spielberg, it's time for qualifying on what will be the fastest laps of the season. Stand by for qualifying at the Austrian Grand Prix.
Indeed, the main event. This, Crofty, is what you should have been talking about the pole position for. But you did it in the sprint race, and that's fine. So here we go. I again upped the AI for this qualifying session, as we found out in the sprint qualifying it wasn't enough. So here we go, turn one. Pretty deep, I would say. We kind of missed the apex. We didn't ride the curb as much as we wanted to, and going up the hill here we can brake pretty late, but not too late, as we get a bit on that sausage curb on the outside, which maybe does hurt our traction coming out of turn 3. Now heading down into turn 4 is the downhill braking zone, so braking at the 100-meter board, flicking the car in fourth, really just trying to put the power down as much as you dare without running out into the gravel trap on the outside. And again, this high speed section, try not to mount that curb. I did, but it can just loop the car. It'll just chuck out the back end for you, no questions asked. It will just kill you. But now, the last couple of corners, didn't really do too much in those last couple of corners. It wasn't too amazing, but P6. So clearly the AI is still not high enough. But at least we've got a long way to go in terms of upgrades. It kind of bodes well really for our sort of learning that we've had through the sort of practice that I've been taking. And again, we're gonna do a bit of Q2, just because, well, we didn't just absolutely smash pole like we did last time. But there we go. It bodes well for our practice that we've been doing and understanding of how to drive this year's game. And again, Jarno Altmaier is at the bottom of the grid. It's alright, his contract's up very shortly. But here we go, we're going to go out for one run and one run only. We've skipped right until the end of Q2 to deliver the following lap. So we've got a car up ahead. Don't think they'll be in the way at all. That was a nice cut of that corner. It will unsettle the car slightly, but I think it's okay. It's definitely not the worst curb in the game at all. That was a pretty nice cut as well. I think when you've got to go over the sausage curbs, if you commit, you have a much better chance of it not spitting you out if you actually fully commit. If you sort of half and half and you just clip it, you're gone. which is very nice. It's kind of like how these curbs on the inside of these two fast left-handers work as well. You don't really want to touch them. If you do, you need to really go over them. If you don't touch them, you're fine anyway. So that's it. Coming into the penultimate right-hander here. Again, improving. We just don't have... We've been sort of being a bit smoother on that corner in particular, and that's it. And that is our Q2 session. P12 in the bank for qualifying of the main Grand Prix.
Welcome from the beautiful Styrian Mountains for another chapter in the story of the Austrian Grand Prix. The Spielberg circuit then is situated 700 metres above sea level, with just 10 corners making up one of the shortest laps of the season. One time around here is a distance of around 2.6 miles, with the best overtaking chances into turn 1 or the tight uphill of turn 3. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Sergio Perez will lead us away from pole position, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Leclerc, Sainz, Hamilton, Oscar Piastri, Russell, Albon, Ocon, Brown, Gasly, Verstappen, Stroll, Sargent, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Magnussen, Joe, Ricciardo, Bottas, and the owner-driver rounds off the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
Indeed. No wise words from Mark this time as we're lining up on the grid. He's potentially sleeping off a bit of a hangover. I don't know. He might have been celebrating too much. I think it's either hard, medium, or medium hard around here. And just kind of confirming them with the personalized race strategy from practice. The hard medium is potentially the better. You don't have the warm-up that you do on the hard. But here we go. Lining up on the grid. P11 actually, thanks to penalties. All the lights are on. Now they're out as we go racing for the main event of this race weekend. Albon and Ocon and everybody up ahead is going extremely defensive. We're just going to slide around the outside and get the run, hopefully. Very cautious on our hards. Everybody around us is on the medium compound tyre. It was actually Max Verstappen that had the penalty now. So I just saw his name flash up behind us there as we get a little bit of oversteer and kind of bang into the side of Alex Albon's Williams there. No damage done for us. I don't think there was any damage for Albon, but it might have been easily done there just to knock an end plate loose. We'll see as we move through these next high-speed corners. Any aero damage is easily apparent here. As look at that, you can definitely see Alex Albon is nursing something on that Williams ahead of us, as we should not be able to be this close to a medium runner while on the hards. We're going to just slide past him here. You can see there his right end plate of his front wing was off as someone up ahead locking up. As now we're going to drain all of the battery, stay within the DRS of Russell, and Albon's kind of damage on his front wing held him up so much that everybody behind us has lost the DRS. We've broken the train in two already, as there's all actually is that a Red Bull and a McLaren running away at the front of the field. There's clearly been some fighting here between Leclerc and it's not Lewis Hamilton, it might be Fernando Alonso up ahead in the Aston Martin. Not too sure, it could even be Lance Stroll based on his performance in the last few races. But Russell and Piastri now going side by side through turn 4. Who's got the better traction? The McLaren has the inside line as Russell is going to back out of it and just slot in behind. Again, we're probably going to have to use all of our battery, all of our pace, just to stay in touch with these top runners here of the top P8 of the grid. Now Mark, our race engineer, just came over and said, hey, you've got an ERS problem. But it works. I don't know if that was just I don't know, an error on their side. I don't know if it happened earlier in the lap. But it's resolved. And moving on to lap 7, we've sadly dropped out of the DRS range. We basically just ran out of battery and couldn't stay with them anymore. We're trying our very best to get as close as we can. We can get there under braking because they all have to brake a little bit earlier than the guy ahead of them, which kind of brings us back into it, but it's too late for us. It's too late for us to get back in DRS. We don't have the softer compound. We don't have the battery. We don't have anybody helping us with DRS. But maybe we do. Now, Verstappen has caught up to us. We get a horrible run through there, get all of the gravel on the tyres, and now Verstappen is within 0.2 of us. So, I'm actually going to let Verstappen go. He's going to get past us anyway, whether we want him to or not. But maybe he can give us some DRS, drag us up to the cars ahead, potentially. He is a much faster car. He is on softer tyres. I don't think we'll be able to stay with him, but this is our only chance. This is our only chance to get back within reach of the cars ahead. We do have the DRS within 0.2 as we go a bit deep there, which might compromise us on this exit. And in that one exit alone, Verstappen has gained 5 or 6 tenths on us. Such is that Red Bull's pace around here. And yes, I did up the AI even more for the race, which is why it's looking a bit more representative in terms of our pace compared to those around us. Now 8 tenths to Verstappen as we go through these high speed corners. He's pulling away. We're draining as much of our battery as we can. We're just on the fringes of DRS through the first sort of fast right-hander, and have we got DRS? We do. We almost hit the sort of the barrier between the pit straight and the pit lane itself. We get the DRS, but he just leaves us enough time to get the DRS on this second straight of the track, but he is now gone. Also, bear in mind, Verstappen didn't have DRS that whole time. He will do now, I think, but not before. And we've run out of our luck with DRS from Max Verstappen. Gasly and Ocon over 1.5 seconds behind us. That's looking pretty good. We're sort of in a no man's land right now as we go a little bit deep. Keep it on the circuit. No gravel on the tyres this time around. Thank you very much. And moving on to lap 10. The medium runners behind us have caught up. Gasly and Ocon doing a bit of DRS sharing, I think, behind us, just to get closer and closer to me. Ocon potentially helping out Gasly just to beat his rival, which of course is us. We are Gasly's rival and we are his. We almost hit that inside wall again, really trying to take too much curve there, and that really sets Gasly up for a move. He's going to look down the inside of turn 1 of lap 11, banging wheels a little bit, but we get the run around the outside and the DRS. Thank you very much, Pierre Gasly. Now running up the hill, not really running, is driving. Lots of lockups happening up ahead of us. You can only assume that they're just battling quite hard, and yeah, really trying to outbrake each other, and the effect of that is locking up. And yeah, our key here right now is just stay ahead of Gasly. There's not much we can do here, as moving on to lap 14 as everybody has boxed behind us and ahead of us, it looks like. Norris is 2 seconds behind. We're actually leading a Formula 1 race, which we've done before when we do this kind of strategy. And now we're going to do our pit entry, try and keep it tight between those lines and try not to run out onto the grass like this, but braking in time, slow the car down, ready for the pit limiter to come on. Now we're going to have a few laps fresher tyres and also the softer compound. We can overtake here, we have the pace, There's all the DRS in the world. Ocon gets past us. And there goes Hulkenberg and Gasly. So now we're leaving the pit lane. Sargent is coming as well, as we do lose out to Sargent in the end. So we're going to drain the battery a bit here. Turn off the battery though, because I want Sargent's DRS, and I also want the outside line. That's where all the traction is. So give me some of that juicy DRS. Didn't really give me the outside line, but that's absolutely fine. That rhymed. So did that. And now it's all about just get the tyres up to temperature, get used to the grip. Try not to lock up like that too much, because we're going to completely destroy our fresh medium tyres. And I'm feeling some good grip here actually. Really feeling the grip. I can go full throttle almost around that high-speed left-hander immediately, which is amazing. Amazing for us to see is now. I mean, you can see how much more pace we have than Sargent. Now we've got used to these tyres. 1 lap into our stint, which is now 9 more laps, I think. Just going to go down the inside, nice and easy. Try not to run out of track, as we don't, and we get the DRS on the guys in front. Winner, winner. I'm going to eat Gasly's car for dinner. So we're going to brake nice and late. Try not to hit the back of him, but that is our limit for braking. Again, we get up on the sausage curb, and it does kind of hurt our pace as we leave the traction zone, and it kind of helps out Sargent, but we're just going to defend a little bit of thin air. Braking deep again. Sargent looking. We actually make contact, I think, as we're leaving that corner. I think he maybe went a little bit deep as we were sort of coming back to the racing line. But again here, look at this. The amount that we can push and gain on the cars around us through those corners because of the softer compound, because of these medium tyres. Again, another little lock up there. We're sort of trying to push too much now, overdriving the car. But look at this run that we've got on Pierre Gasly, using a little bit of the battery, making him go really defensive so that we can swoop around the outside. We go into turn 1, almost cutting him off slightly there, get the DRS, and try and get back up to Hulkenberg, which we should be able to do. We're within DRS now, so it stays that way there. Lock up a little bit again. We really should take more care of these mediums, especially in the early part of the stint, because they will pay dividends later down the line. But we do get the DRS on Hulkenberg, and I do believe we're going to stay within it this time. But here we go. Moving on to lap 18 of 25. We're within 4.5 tenths of Hulkenberg. This is for P11. Ocon is a couple of seconds up the road, so we really need to dispatch Hulkenberg and then catch up to the Alpine ahead of the Haas. We're going to think about sending it down the inside. We do. We lock up a bit, leave Hulkenberg the space on the outside curb. We were very close to banging wheels there or making a bit of contact, but I think if we did make contact, it was wheel to wheel from what I could see there. Moving on to lap 19, we have not dropped Hulkenberg. He's just been coming back at us lap after lap, and that's allowing Ocon to get away and secure himself in P10. And now we have 5 laps to hold off Hulkenberg, who's going to look down the inside into turn 1. We do leave him a bit of space on the inside, but we're not overly generous. We do like our elbows. We've been filing them to be sharp sticks all day, and yes, that is kind of where we're going to end up. As now Hulkenberg gets ahead of us here, and looking like he's got some good pace. We have the DRS on this straight, and tyres aren't looking too bad. They're not going to be as fresh as the mediums, as the hards, but we'll keep rolling anyway. Onto lap 22, we hit the inside curb a little bit, which does unsettle the car. Means we can't put the throttle down as cleanly as we would like. But now we're going to have the run a little bit on Hulkenberg, hopefully through these last 2 corners, moving on to lap 23 of 25. Running a little bit wide there, Then we're just losing a bit of grip in the dirty air of the car ahead. A little bit of understeer happening through there.
You're in the dirty air of the car in front. Let's get past them.
As Mark is kindly reminding me that there is a car in front of me as we get a good run through turn 1. Open the DRS, dump a little bit of battery, maybe not too much, or yes, too much is what we're going to do. 35% battery left there. Hulkenberg's going to hold it on the inside. We're going to squeeze him as much as we can. He will have the DRS here, so it's all about the traction, all about getting as much as we can ahead of Hulkenberg, but he's still hanging on. He is still hanging on in there on those hards. The Haas is looking like it's doing well at this circuit, as are we. It's kind of like the same fight we would normally have towards the rear of the field, except this time we're fighting it out for P11. And there's no one really within touching distance now. There's Ocon 3.5 seconds ahead. The Sargent 3 seconds behind us, or 2.5 seconds behind Hulkenberg. So I don't think there's anyone that's really going to be able to challenge us for this P11, and we can't challenge Ocon for P10. So it's kind of all-out fight between ourselves and Hulkenberg, as Hulkenberg almost kamikazed it down the inside there, as now we can hop on board the rear wing of the Haas that is ahead of us. And yeah, he's got some good straight line speed with the DRS open, with the Ferrari engine in the rear of his F1 machine. And final lap is where we're at. We've been holding station behind Hulkenberg, but the tyres, they're not really wanting to give us the performance that they once did. Potentially our tyres have started to go off, and Hulkenberg's have not started to go off just yet, but you can see we're trying to push. We're trying to get as much as we can out of the car, sliding the rear end through the high speed corners, on board the nice director's cam through the last 2 corners. We go a bit wide again, just trying to maximize everything we can, but it's just too much for the track and the cars. We now cross the line for P12.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
It's a good race in the end. Struggled in the last few laps. Maybe we should have stayed out a little bit longer on the hards to give us fresher mediums, but then we might have had too much to do in the final laps.
And here he comes. It's all go, go, go for Lando Norris as he takes the checkered flag and wins.
This race really mattered for them today, Crofty. You know, it's close in the Drivers' Championship. You feel that pressure as a driver as it gets towards the end of the championship, and you know, it's a big relief. It's a weight off of your shoulders, and you'll know that it was a job well done.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
Indeed. Must have been a good fight up front. We didn't see any of it at all. But it was Perez and Norris in the end. And yeah, decent race for us, I think. We showed some real pace. We showed our improvements as a driver, our improvements as a whole team. And yeah, overall, a decent race. We're going to see where Jarno came, and that might drive one of our decisions for the future.
After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
Indeed, we will. So for the main race, obviously Lando Norris, Sergio Perez, Hamilton, Sainz, Alonso, Piastri, Verstappen, Russell, Leclerc, Ocon, Hulkenberg, ourselves in P12. Logan Sargent performing very well in that Williams. And then behind him we have Kevin Magnussen, Lance Stroll, Zhou Guanyu, Daniel Ricciardo, Yuki Tsunoda, Gasly, our rival, crucially down at the bottom, Jarno Opmeer in 20th, Bottas, and then Albon. So a decent showing actually from Jarno. Not really up there as much as we'd like, but still up there. Norris takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship, followed by Verstappen and the 2 Ferraris. We're down in P11, potentially fighting Stroll for P10. and also fighting off Sonoda, who is just behind us. As a team, we are neck and neck with Visa Cash App RB and Alpine, crucial for our rivalry with young Pierre Gasly. But we can do this. I think we can clutch P6 in the Constructors. And now, for a title card. The sprint race highlights are all here. I've split them up so you can see sprint race and then the Grand Prix. Yeah, decent race, decent results. We didn't come away with any points, but just in terms of where we place and how far up the grid we were, especially in comparison to the last few races, we've done well at this track, which I'm very happy with. But Jarno, he might not be doing the best for this team. Is that sort of first heavy braking zone of the sprint race was insane, just dodging the Visa Cash App RB's rear end and saving our left front. But anyway, that is it for this week. And next week is Silverstone, I want to say. And again, that's a track I like and enjoy because obviously it would be our home race. As a team, as a driver, all that good stuff. But that's it. You've seen a million of them through this video. But if you haven't yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Hit those notifications, and yeah, you'll just stay up to date with all the videos when they drop, so you don't have to binge watch and try and catch up with everything all in one go when you're meant to be, I don't know, cleaning the house or doing your chores or whatever it is that you do outside of your livelihood. But that is it. If you enjoyed, leave a like, and yeah, I will leave you with these highlights. There's quite a few, obviously, as it's the sprint race and the Grand Prix, but enjoy them, and let me know in the comments who you think I should be looking at for a driver. We had a few kind of options in the previous video, but we need to kind of put our heads together now and figure out who we want in this team, in the other seat, in the other driver seat. That words are hard at this point. 42 minutes of pure talking. I'm rambling, but I'll let you guys go, and I'll catch you all at Silverstone in the next video.